The best of Money Matters. The Big Story.
Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Hongbin Jeong. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is under police custody after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant following an investigation into his deadly drug war. Now, the court has been investigating the mass killings that happened during Duterte's deadly crackdown against illegal drugs as possible crimes against humanity. Duterte's anti-narcotics crackdown, his signature campaign promise, propelled him to power in 2016 as a tough-talking crime-busting mayor. Official figures estimate the drug war's death toll at more than 5,600, but rights groups estimate the number could exceed 27,000. So to get a deeper look into the recent development, joining us now is Dennis Coronacion, who is the chair Department of Political Science at the University of Santo Tomas. Hi, Denise. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, for some context here, Professor, what led to the arrest of former President Duterte by the International Criminal Court?
Well, it was because of an abuse committed by his administration when there was still this anti-illegal drugs campaign. And there were reports saying that there were some suspects or a number of suspects whose human rights were abused by the police enforcers who were just following the orders of the president. But instead of arresting them, they were summarily executed. So that's how it all started. A case or cases were filed against the former president before the ICC. And I think after that, the ICC conducted a preliminary investigation, and somehow the former president was sensing along the way that he was going to be arrested and that a warrant of arrest was going to be issued. But he tried to avert this scenario. When he was still president, he ordered the withdrawal of the Philippines from the ICC.
Right. We'll dive into that in just a bit as well. But, the arrest comes just a few days after Duterte said he was prepared for arrest. Amid unconfirmed reports, the ICC was planning to issue a warrant against him for crimes against humanity linked to his bloody war on drugs. But how come it's taken the ICC so long to issue a warrant for his arrest, especially given that his presidency was from 2016 to 2022?
Yes, because it's quite difficult. When he was still in power, it's quite difficult to get the evidence that were needed to prosecute him. And I think it was only made available, majority of the evidence were made available after he stepped down from power. So even though the current administration, led by President Bongbong Marcos, has been saying all along that they're not going to cooperate with the ICC, I think, behind the scene, they were being cooperative. They were facilitating the work of the ICC.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the Philippines, as you mentioned earlier, is no longer an ICC member, having withdrawn from the Rome Statute, the ICC's founding treaty in 2019 under Mr. Duterte's directive. So do the tribunal still have jurisdiction over the alleged crimes committed then?
Well, legal experts are saying that even though we had already withdrawn from the ICC, but the fact that the abuses took place before we withdrew from the ICC, we're saying that ICC has jurisdiction over the case because of it happened before the withdrawal from the ICC. So it's actually a legal matter, but what's important is that at least for our country, I think we are stepping in the right direction. At least we're trying to show to the international community that we do not condone the culture of impunity anymore, and that we are promoting the rule of law.
I see. Well, following his arrest here, the Philippine National Police has cooperated as President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has signaled his administration's willingness to comply with the ICC's directive. But this is a stark reversal from Mr. Marcos' earlier dismissal of the ICC's jurisdiction, where he had argued that the tribunal had no business intervening in the country's internal affairs. Why the sudden shift?
Well, I think politics has something to do with it. It's well known, at least in our country, that the family of our president and the family of the former president are involved in a power struggle, some sort of a power struggle. So, and it's also expected that the vice president, who happens to be the daughter of the former president, is going to run for president in 2028.
Right.
So, yeah, makes everything more political rather than legal.
I see. I
Yeah.
see. Well, Professor, if this stems from the recent political fallout between the Marcos and the Dutertes, will this further heighten the tension between the two families?
Yeah, of course, it's going to heighten as the Duterte see it. They're being persecuted by the administration, by the government. So I think this is just a continuation of the intense fight between the two families.
I see. Well, how have the Filipino people reacted to the ICC's investigation into Duterte's actions? Is there strong support for the ICC's intervention, or do people see it as a, infringement on national sovereignty?
I think the Filipinos are divided based on what I've seen, at least today on social media. There are some Filipinos who feel that ICC should not intervene in an internal affair, that this is a sovereignty issue. So they feel strongly against what the ICC is doing. On the other hand, there are, of course, some sections of the Filipino public who agree with what's happening. Especially those in the middle class and the upper class. They think that a leader who abused his power should be made accountable, if not in the local courts, at least in the international court. So the Filipino public is actually divided.
I see. I see. Well, how might Duterte's arrest also affect his political legacy and the future of the political landscape in the Philippines?
Well, it depends on, who's looking at his legacy. For those who continue to support him, they're going to think that his legacy as a, someone who, at least had done something about the illegal drugs problem in the country is not going to be affected in a negative way. But for those who, criticize his policies, his administration, they think that this is a repudiation of what he did before and a big thumbs down on the Duterte brand of politics.
I see. I see. Well, on that note, Duterte is running for mayor of Davao City on the southern island of Mindanao in the May midterm election, seeking to reclaim a post that gave him, national prominence for endorsing a shoot-to-kill style crackdown on crime. How will his mayoral, campaign be impacted by his arrest? Can he still run for mayor at this point?
Well, we do have a lot of politicians that even though they are convicted by the court, are still allowed to run. So I don't think the case of President Duterte is not going to be any different. So I think he's going to be allowed to run, but the problem is, assuming that he's going to be detained while on trial at The Hague, is will he be able to serve? Assuming that he's going to win, will he be able to serve his constituents in Davao City? And then the other one is that I don't think that his image is going to be dented in Davao City because the stronghold of the Duterte family, and they continue to enjoy strong support from the people of Davao.
I see. I see. Well, how does this arrest also implicate the former president and his family's political fortune?
Well, insofar as, their political fortune in Davao is concerned, I don't think it's going to be affected adversely. But as for their political fortune at the national level, that's something that remains a challenge for them. It's a big challenge for them because both members of the family, both prominent members, are being, so to speak, persecuted by the administration. That's the word that they use, that they're being persecuted by the current administration. So depends. It remains to be seen. I suppose all these things are going to change by 2028 if ever, the Duterte family, especially the vice president who intends to run as president by 2028, will be able to do something to, reverse their political fortune.
Right. Well, speaking of his daughter, does his arrest have implication on his daughter, Sara Duterte, who is the vice president of the Philippines, especially as she's facing impeachment?
No, I don't think so. Although, her dad announced that he's going to be part of the legal team of her daughter, I think he's not really going to play a leading role.
I see.
It's just for, I think, symbolic purposes, to show his support for his daughter. And legally speaking, I don't think it's going to have any effect on the vice president's political fortune as well. It's just that I think if there's any implication, it will be on politics, on the political side. Because I think that this event will show that the Dutertes are not invincible, as they tried to show when they were still leading or dominating Philippine politics.
I see. And before we let you go here, Professor, what are the next steps in the ICC's investigation and legal proceedings against Duterte, and what kind of outcomes might we expect from this case?
Well, I think the next step for ICC is to gain jurisdiction over the president. I think he was arrested through the help of the Interpol and the Philippine police, the local police. And so the immediate next step is to turn over the former president to the ICC. And of course, after that, there's going to be a trial. I don't know where it will be held. It can be held here, or it can possibly be held in The Hague. So, and then, of course, after that, we expect judgment, either conviction or acquittal of the former president. There is strong evidence because I understand that, there's a network of NGOs and concerned individuals who had done a lot of effort to collect the evidence. Because when Duterte was in power, they were afraid, do something when it comes to collecting the evidence. And no one was courageous enough to speak against the former president back then.
I see.
So if the evidence is strong, I think it's going to lead to, to a conviction.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Professor, for your time and your insights today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Dennis Coronacion, who is the chair of Department of Political Science at the University of Santo Tomas. And this has been The Big Story with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.